Hello.
Hi. Hello, all my lovely people who are reading this newsletter, seeing it on a blog post. I'm going to be sharing this bad boy all over my social media because I think it's a really important topic. I get a lot of questions about this, and today we're going to be talking to my lovely friend all the way in New York City. Well, she's just outside New York City in Rye. Her name is Brook, and she is what I'm calling you. I don't know if you would call yourself this, but I'm calling you a sleep expert. Is it safe to say?
I am not a sleep expert in the sense I'm not a doctor, but I'm a kind of bedtime expert, which is a key component to getting sleep.
That's not as saucy as it sounds, by the way.
That's right.
In case anyone is thinking it's that kind of bedtime expert. We're not going X-rated on you, my lovelies. So what we're going to talk about, I decided to do the Miracle Morning, which I'm sure a lot of my followers on social media, you will all have seen what I'm doing. The problem that I've had is that I'm really struggling to find the discipline and to give myself a bedtime routine. So what I want to do is I'm just going to let you go and
Okay.
I'm going to let you tell us all a little bit about, firstly, about yourself, your background, a little bit about Sleepy Time Club would be amazing as well. And then also if you can give us any hints and tips that we can implement now before. I know that you've got a lovely little bundle for my people specifically, which I'm really excited to announce at the end. But for now, if there's anything that people could implement today, that would be awesome. So fire away.
All right. Well, I want to say that sleep experts say there are two things that you need to do in order to get back on track and to get good sleep. The first is to expose yourself to sunlight within 2 hours of getting up in the morning. The sunlight and be out in the sun as much as possible. The sun helps us produce melatonin, which is a key factor in our biochemistry that helps us sleep. That's free. That's great. And the second is to do everything to get up routines. And my deal is consistent daytime routines make healthy nighttime routines. My story was I was a horrible sleeper. I went from doctor to doctor to doctor, hoping they'd give me a pill. And fortunately, they didn't. They just kept giving me the same advice. I'd get up at the same time, eat at the same time, move, and get a good bedtime routine. So I did that. I put that all together in something called the Bedtime Blueprint, which is part of the bundle. And then in terms of Sleepy Time Club, that's really for kids. I'm an early childhood music specialist. And so I know parents are just like, what do I read to the kids? It's taking forever. They're getting too revved up. So that's separate. So if you have little ones, the bedtime kit is free on the Sleepy Time Club site. So given that that we need solid bedtime routines, and that's from the experts, before you even see a sleep specialist to see whether you have a condition that would need medical attention, they're going to ask you to keep a sleep diary and they're going to ask you to set up healthy routines. So let's just start. That's the baseline. That's where we start. And what I want to point out is that everyone has a bedtime routine. It just isn't working for you. I mean, does it work for you or not? Like I read about these moms, this is their bedtime routine. I read about it all the time. Their bedtime routine is hurriedly getting the kid to bed, reading whatever, stopping it halfway, going downstairs, pouring a couple of glasses of wine and watching TV, reality TV, dressing in the clothes they're going to need to get up in the morning because they want to walk the dog or get their workout in. And that's their bedtime routine. And all those signals send to your brain, this isn't worth it. It's not important. It's just something I do on my way to life. So my whole thing is let's make bedtime just beautiful. And it doesn't take that long. So am I making sense?
Absolutely. I love the idea of making bedtime beautiful.
Right. Let's make it sort of sacred. I mean, as much as we look forward to the ritual of the morning, of the cup of coffee, or whether we write morning pages or do tapping in the morning, we need to do the same thing at night when we're ready for sleep. So I'm looking at my notes here. So one way you can plus your bedtime routine is the simplest thing is to pick a morning routine that you reverse at night. So for me, I take my pajamas. First of all, I dress for sleep. right? Very important. I used to wear whatever. And if dressing for sleep is sleeping in your all together, that's fine too, because chances are you're not walking around all day like that, right? So whatever it is, whatever your special sleeping costume is. But so for me, I take my PJs and I fold them in a special way and I put them under my pillow. I used to put them in the drawer, but it was too distracting. So I did what I did as a kid. And when I take them out, that's like the signal, like, it's time for bed. So that's one thing. So any morning routine, whether it's make the bed and then at night you turn down the covers, whether it's a gratitude journal, that's another thing in the bundle, this little gratitude journal page. So whatever that is to you. So let me give you an idea of what I do at night, and you can sort of factor it in because there's a lot of other things you can do. I park my electronics an hour before bed, no screen time, because that also reduces melatonin. And it also gets, don't watch the news, just don't watch the news these days.
No, I mean, luckily I'm very ill-educated in the news. I choose to not participate.
Yeah.
Which some people they may think I'm ignorant for doing that, but really I think one of the things that we have choice over in our life is what we consume, and that includes what we consume visually and media. So for me, I just don't, it's constructed anyway, right? So
yeah.
That's a whole other class.
I know, we'll talk about that. I'm with you. I'm totally with you on that. And my husband watches the news every morning for the weather, and I'm like, here's a phone, here's the weather. Guess what? Or here's a window.
Look out the window, honey.
Right. Because along the way, they're going to plug something in that's not going to be good for your thinking. So yeah, you do have control of your bedtime routine. I have been following the Miracle Morning thing, and it's so inspiring. I just got the book, so I'll be joining you.
Yeah, it is amazing. And I'll be interested to hear from you as well what you think about, because you're saying about reversing the cycle. Obviously in the Miracle Morning, you exercise as part of the 6 things that you're meant to do. So how does exercise fit into, is that something that you wouldn't do before bedtime? Because I'm assuming that would probably get you pumped up. Or could you do like some gentle yoga or stretching instead? What would you say about that?
I would say, yeah, you're not supposed to do really active, over the top aerobics. I do a morning walk and an evening walk. Oh. And that's like after dinner, and I just go out and look at the moon. It's not long. It's just kind of getting in touch with the rhythm of the day, because we are tapped into the greater rhythm of nature. And then I'm still working on my New Year's goals and objectives and intentions. And one is I'd like to do some foam roller time in the evening, or those balls those rubber balls that you lie on and release.
They are intense. Yeah, they're great. They're really good.
Yeah, they're so something like that is great, and you can make that part of your routine. So sleeping, morning routine that you reverse, a hot bath. The body temperature naturally goes down when we sleep, and if you sit in a bath that's hot, like, not uncomfortably hot, but not just tepid, and a shower won't do it. It raises the core temperature and then it drops right away. So you do sleep. And the nights that I do that, oh my gosh, it's heaven. It's a really deep sleep. So if you do have a tub and can luxuriate in that, put a little lavender oil.
Essential oils. The bath is my favorite thing. The bath is like my safe happy place. My boyfriend laughs at me because I will happily have a bath every single night, and I could stay in there for hours. I don't, but I could.
That's a water thing. Oh.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about water, but yeah, obviously. And I do love Neil's Yard with the lavender smell. That I find.
I love Neil's Yard stuff. We have that here.
Yay!
The other, if you want to get a little woo-woo, the other thing you can do is put a little salt in the bath. Every massage therapist I've ever worked with has always had some salt water or salt in the room. And then the salt lamps are really hot, now. And it just sort of as a cleansing, like I'm washing away the day. I'm washing away, I'm releasing the tensions. And in fact, Sleepy Time Club for kids, in the kids book, there's a mindfulness practice, which is called Put the Day to Bed. We're just going to go through the day and we're going to release it so you can do that physically as well as use EFT, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're really claiming this, and it doesn't have to take forever. It can take half an hour, but it can be like your best part of your day. It's like, just as much as I look forward to my really good coffee in the morning, I look forward to this little sacred time at bedtime. So I have on top of my bed, my bed has a flat, it's almost like a shelf behind me. I have an essential oil diffuser. So I put it on so the room smells of lavender. I have a sleeping mask so all the ambient light is out because we have a lot where we live. That's really helpful. I have lavender hand cream.
Nice.
And I do my gratitude journal and read a little, something that doesn't get me excited. That not like if I read a novel, forget it. I'll never go to sleep. I'll just be turning pages. Mm-hmm. So that I think whatever works for you, and just add one thing a day. Like, let's do a morning routine that reverses. Let's have lunch at the same time every day.
Yeah. So really your whole day, as much as the miracle morning sets you up for the whole day, it's almost like the steps you take throughout your day is then setting you up for a good night's sleep, which is setting you up for a good morning. So that routine, it's just keeping that cycle and really supporting you to be able to be the best version of yourself every day.
Yes. And I'm going to repeat it again because it's so important. You do have a bedtime routine.
Yeah.
Is it working? You do. That's just a fact.
Absolutely. So I know mine doesn't because I am addicted to Netflix at night. And I think when I speak to some of my clients, I don't know if you find this when you speak to people, but I will often say to them, and it's a typical example of we teach best what we need to learn, right? So I'll just say to them, what is it about your day that you feel like you need that time at night? What is it that you could be doing in your day that would mean that you wouldn't feel like you had to, whatever it is at that television program at night, that time that keeps you, where you think, I haven't had long enough to myself. And so watching TV isn't really time for myself. It's just time blocking out the day. And I have a lovely life. Why am I doing that? So I love the idea of, rather than thinking like taking something away, like taking away Netflix or taking away time to yourself, actually gifting yourself with something lovely like, right, I'm going to change the routine and have a bath and read something relaxing, and for it to really be about you.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely too. And that's why I say you plus your bedtime routine, or almost hearing you talk, I'm thinking like, if, when you want to intentionally eat one really good chocolate, of course, in the UK, like even your bad chocolate is better than our over-the-counter chocolates.
Well, what can I say?
Kit Kats. UK Kit Kats, how great are those? But, so if I'm, being mindful of my eating, I will get like the smallest but best piece of chocolate I can and eat it very mindfully. And it's so much more satisfying to do the same thing with a bedtime routine. For instance, and anything that's distracting, there's no oughts. It's up to you. Like there's a drink that's always ends up on the internet, like, try this turmeric bedtime tree. I don't know if you've seen it, turmeric and coconut milk, and went like, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. So I would make it, but I found I was so obsessed with making it. It was a barrier in my path. It was a barrier in my bedtime routine. Yeah. What worked better for me was to incorporate a mug of chamomile tea, and then, because it was just simpler. The other one was like, it was like I was making a second meal. I didn't want it to be done with that.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm exactly the same. If I was having to actually do something in the kitchen, that would be like igniting my brain, and I'd be thinking, and then I'd probably have to look the recipe up on the internet. So that would lead me to the internet. Yeah, just boiling a kettle and pouring on like a nighttime tea or chamomile. Yeah, perfect. So having something warm to drink as well, like a nice soothing tea, is that part of your bedtime routine every day?
It's now and then if I feel like I'm getting a little off, like the holidays. We also had, my husband had an accident 2 weeks ago, which has totally disrupted all routines. Mm-hmm. So And in those times, I'm so grateful that I have 2 or 3 things that I can go back to.
Yes.
The lavender infuser, the sleep mask, my pajamas, and a hot bath. Then, then everything else is an addition around that core, to continue with the chocolate metaphor, a little nugget in the middle.
And again, it's that coming back to having that routine when, like you say, when something does happen that kind of throws a spanner in the works, it gives you something to come back to, gives you something of yourself that you can return to and remember, okay, I'm still me, even though the shit's hit the fan and everything's going crazy in my life. I've still got this moment, and I've got this. And even if you can't do all of the routine, you've still got a couple of things that you can do that bring you back to center. I love that idea.
Yeah. And because it's going to happen. I mean, change, we all know change is the only constant. And, and these storms are meant to shake things up. And so we can, after the storm, everything's clear and you can get a better sight of what your priorities are. So just make the bedtime priorities, just as delicious as you can. I want to share with you, because you said ignite your brain. I have that issue all the time. In fact, I think there's a lot of alcoholics in my family. I think it was self-medicating, like stop the brain, but there's a healthier way to do it. And the first tip I want to give is a breathing tip.
Great.
Am I going on too long, or?
No, please. I'm lapping
Awesome.
it up.
Yeah. Everyone says we have to breathe, right? And as a singer and as someone who's studied this, has been just obsessed with that kind of thing for years, there was a man named Carl Stow who was a choral conductor, and he basically had a theory about breath, and he saved the lives of emphysema patients, saying our breath isn't coordinated. We get off the coordination when we suck in cigarette smoke or whatever. And he used this really simple technique for the US 1968 Olympic team in Mexico City, and they won a gazillion gold medals. And it works for concentration. It works for kids, rather than saying, just breathe, right? It's based on the premise that you cannot take in a good inhale. You cannot allow in, let's use better language, a nice, healthy, deep inhale without a released exhale, right? Makes sense. Otherwise, you're just sucking in air on top of dead air. So you don't want to push the air out, but the way you do it is you whisper, exhale. So you can, I think Carl Stow used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you're releasing the air in a measured way. And it's not a contest. That's the other thing I have to, particularly here in the US, I've got people like, no, it's not, you're not about like how long you're doing it. You're just releasing the air. That's all. Sometimes you'll count to 10 3 times, sometimes 4 or 5 times. It's going to change. Mm-hmm. And then did you see how that breath came in after I whispered?
That's awesome. I'm going to try that. Can I try it now?
Yeah, try it. You can count to 10, or you can do la, 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 or you can whisper affirmations, whatever.
Oh, nice. Okay. I'm going to do the 10, because otherwise I'll procrastinate into, what can I say? So I'm just going to count for now.
I hear you.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's good.
Does it feel good?
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah, that is awesome.
Oh, cool. I'm so happy.
I just have to say, if you're watching this at home, which hopefully, you are, just do that. If you do nothing else that we've done today, just try that, because that's really cool. Like the breath, it's just automatic. It just straight into my belly. And I'm very much someone who I will find myself, I hold my breath a lot. And I spot it in my clients as well. We'll be doing something and we'll touch on something that's a bit, close to a nerve sometimes. And they'll think, oh, I'm not sure I'm ready to go there. And I just see them go, I'm like, breathe, breathe, breathe. But I do it myself. Sometimes I'll be doing something and I'll be so caught up in the doing that I end up forgetting that I'm breathing to like here, like, and I forget that.
Yeah, we all do it. And I can do it. I do it on the subway, the tube. I do it, in the car, and I've used it with kids. Heaven knows why they asked me to do it, but I was the coach for my daughter's softball team. I'm totally not a sports person. And they would be up to bat, and I would see them clutching their breath, and I just go, whisper, whisper. And man, they did great, you know, and even if they didn't, they felt better.
Amazing.
So,
I love that. Right. That is what I'm definitely going to start doing. That's the first thing I'm going to add into my bedtime routine is some nice breathing.
Yeah.
Bring that in, because I know for a fact that when I feel more in my body, and that's what that made me feel. When that breath came in, it was like, oh, I'm here. I get very like, ooh, up in my head, too many ideas, very creative, blah, blah, blah. And then just that breath was just like, oh, I'm in my body. Okay. And it's like quite a safe feeling. Yeah, it's very good, actually. I like that. Just from that one little exercise. I think everyone, please try that. Just, when you're done, pause this recording, or just make sure you do that at some point today. Make sure you give that a try, because that's really nice. So I could talk to you all day, and I may continue to talk to you after we finish recording, and maybe we'll do another chat soon and do it like part 2. But before we finish up, is there anything else that you wanted to add to today's chat? And before we talk about what your bundle is that you're gifting to my lovely people?
Oh, cool. You know, I'm going to do some that I just discovered myself a couple of months ago, and it's gotten great results. And that is, they always tell us practice gratitude, right? And a lot of times my brain, again, I'm spinning around. So what I do is I literally put my hand on my heart, which is easier to do sleeping on your back.
Yes.
And it stops my brain from thinking, you know, the world is going to end, but you know, I've got to do all these chores tomorrow, whatever. So I really feel the energy of gratitude and appreciation, right? I just inhabit that.
Like actively, is this heart math, or is this just something that you do?
It is from heart math. Which
is awesome. So I will often teach my clients as well. So I'm really glad you've brought that up. So you see, people, it's not just me making it up. That beautiful, that releases oxytocin into the bloodstream, which naturally, you know, helps get rid of cortisol, the stress hormone. So it's such a beautiful and simple thing. And our body does it naturally, doesn't it? So, you know, when we get a shock, we'll kind of go, and we'll put our hand to our heart, because the body knows what it needs. And it knows that this is a calming thing. So thank you for that. So you do that when your brain's going too fast in bed, and it helps to calm you down?
Yes. And what I do is I call it the gratitude alphabet. Rather than go like, I'm grateful for my home and my family, you know, I go A, and I think of places, feelings, experiences, people, names, whatever. And I just go through A, then I go through B. And I send prayers, or just feel that gratitude. And I'm usually asleep by M. And our friend Sam tried it, and she was asleep by J. And it just helps kind of contain the gratitude and expand it at the same time.
But also, what I'm learning from the Miracle Morning, when you are thinking positively before bed, that leads to a positive morning. So if you're going to sleep and you're thinking, oh, I don't want to wake up tomorrow, when you wake up in the morning, you're going to think, oh, I don't want to get out of bed, because you just carry that energy through. Whereas if you go to bed on a grateful heart, then you're going to wake up with a bit more of a spring in your step. I'm going to try that tonight, and I'm going to let you know what letter I get to.
Oh, I want to know. That's so great. That bit I made up. I added to the heart thing.
I love that. That really, because it helps to focus your mind to think about something positive, and without it being just random. Like, I'm just thinking it could be anything, because then you kind of get caught up. Sorry, my dog did a little shake there. Sorry about that. So yeah, you could get caught up in just like, oh, what am I grateful for? And, oh, I don't know. But when you've got that structure of the alphabet, it just gives you that little extra structure and that focus. So I'm going to try that tonight, and I'll let you know.
Oh, I can't wait to hear.
Before we finish up, because I'm aware that we are just probably about on time, let's just hear about this bundle. I'm very excited.
Well, what's in the bundle is what I call the bedtime blueprint, which is everything I've gotten from research and talking to doctors about how to schedule your day. Mm-hmm. And it's 2 pages. It's got little clocks. It's designed for kids, so it's very cute. You can put it on your refrigerator and just kind of remind yourself, this is when I do this is when I do that, and this is why. Mm-hmm. Like when to cut out caffeine, for example. So there's the bedtime blueprint. There is My Time, which is a guided meditation, gives you a 15 to 20-minute break in the middle of the day. There is a list of plants that help purify a room, and it has the plants and what toxins it takes out of the room, because that's another thing affecting our sleep is the way our sheets are manufactured, and bedding and all that and paint and off-gassing. So we can put a few plants in there to feel better. There's a fourth thing. Oh, and then there's a gratitude journal for grown-ups, like what went well today, what am I looking forward to tomorrow? So that kind of sets the tone for the bed.
Gorgeous. Thank you so much. And guys, that is a special offer just for you. So please take Brook up on that offer. It's absolutely 100% complimentary. There is no charge for that, just your time for having watched this. And thank you so much, Brook. I'm going to stop the recording now. But if anybody would like to, do you have a website for Sleepy Time Club as well?
Yes, it's sleepytimeclub.com. And
the children's book.
There's a free children's storybook with a digital album. So the idea is you read the story to the kids. It's actually a journey to sleep. It's short, different stages. Takes you 20 minutes or less. And then you leave behind the digital album and go, goodbye. I need my 20 minutes. And hopefully your child's asleep, but you get guaranteed 20 minutes. And I have to say, each playlist ends with a classical guitar, which is just so beautiful to introduce kids to.
Amazing. Oh my goodness. I'm downloading it for me.
Let's go read it. Everyone says, I need Sleepy Time Club for grown-ups, but
yeah, that's it. Next project, Brook. That's it.
Yes.
When the husband's back on the road, you can back up on his feet. That's your next project.
That's right. We'll do it.
Thank you so much. Really massive gratitude for you giving up this time today to talk to me and my lovely people. And guys, do take Brook up on this amazing offer to download this bundle and head over to sleepytimeclub.com. And if you've got children and you struggle to get them in a sleep routine, this could be the thing that you need. Please. So many of you tell me that you struggle to get your kids to bed, and that's one of the reasons why you don't have time to do your own stuff, your own tapping, something that leads you to eat too much junk food because you don't feel like you're giving back to yourself and all that stuff. So use this and let's get all this good stuff in your kids' lives. Let's teach them that there's another way. Awesome. Thank you so much. Bye, Brook.
Thank you.